Letting go isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's saying, I can't carry who I used to be and still become who I'm meant to be. Welcome to the Our Family Invest podcast, where we explore what happens when family, purpose, and entrepreneurship align. I'm Mike, a former Maui firefighter who reached financial freedom in just 5 years through real estate investing.
And I'm Caroline, a Maui-based realtor here to educate, empower, and elevate my clients to make smart real estate moves, whether right here at home or through my nationwide network.
Together, we're chasing our full potential as individuals, as a couple, and as a family. We're here to build a life that matters. And each week we share the stories of couples who inspire us to love harder, dream bigger, and grow bolder. So join us and let's learn, share, and grow together. All right, welcome to the show. You may notice today is a little bit different, and that's because I am sitting here solo. My beautiful wife is not with me today. Caroline is out and about, but I have something that I really wanted to share with you. And if you are watching this on YouTube or Spotify, you'll notice that I'm wearing a shirt that says Elevate on it. And I always wear a shirt that says Elevate. And Elevate has become something of a mantra for us within our family. And it's something that we kind of started as our word of the year for 2025. And we wanted to really encapsulate all the energy that that word brings. But as the year went on, we decided to kind of make somewhat of an acronym for it, for keeping us aligned. And so I want to go through that acronym with you today, through each letter individually. And hopefully this Elevate method will help you to realign with your journey when you're feeling off as well. So let's go through each of those letters right now. The first E in Elevate is evaluate. Evaluate your energy. You can't elevate what you don't evaluate, right? Do you know what the difference is between a thermometer and a thermostat? Of course you do, right? A thermometer reads the room. It tells you what's going on. It's reacting. But a thermostat sets a temperature. It's intentional. And most people walk into their week as the thermometers. They let everyone else's emotions and demands set the tone. But when you evaluate your energy, you're choosing to be the thermostat. You're reading the room. Then you're setting the temperature you want to live in. Now, it can be as simple as waking up and checking your phone first thing in the morning. I know when I do that, I'm putting myself in reactive mode. And that's why I've chosen to start my day intentionally with gratitude, with meditation, with affirmations, and set the temperature for my whole day. And really, those little steps in the morning have been so pivotal to my energy throughout the day. And it's not an easy thing to do if it's not something you practice, right? Like you really have to get intentional with listening to your body. Now, maybe you start noticing that you're more prone to exhaustion, or you're short-tempered, or it could be that you're easily overstimulated, or maybe you feel resentment easily. Whatever it is, whenever you're feeling off, it's time to look at what's causing that. And that will come easier and easier with more practice. Now, if you are feeling off, there are 3 points you can always check and adjust to get back on track. And we refer to these as the energy triangle. And they are your body, your environment, and your direction. And to break that down, your body is maybe telling you, are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting enough movement in your day? Are you eating right? Are your hormones off? Those kinds of things. Listen to your body, right? Listening to your environment is super important too. Is there too much clutter in your office? Is your closet a mess? Your house, whatever. Is there too much noise in your relationships? Do you have too many open apps, right? You know what I mean. And direction is, are you still moving towards your values? Or are you chasing someone else's version of success? Now, a good practice for me, and I'll go through this as soon as I finish recording here, is the midday check-in. So right around lunchtime or noon or whatever that time is, just pause and ask yourself, am I feeling open or closed? Am I reacting or am I creating? Do I need to push or pivot? If you're closed, if you're reacting or if you're forcing, stop. Just give it 2 minutes. Step outside, breathe, go for a walk, reconnect. Evaluate your energy. That's the first E. All right, moving on to L. L stands for let go. Let go of what no longer serves you. Imagine you're hiking a mountain. right? At the bottom, you pack your bag with everything you think you'll need, right? Extra clothes, old tools, snacks, duct tape. If you're with my wife, it's more snacks and maybe even more snacks. The just in case stuff, right? And at first, as you start hiking, that bag feels fine. You barely notice the weight. But as you climb higher and higher, every step it gets a little heavier and the air thins out, right? The climb steepens. And suddenly, what once felt essential now kind of feels exhausting. And that's when you stop and realize that most of what's in your pack was never really meant to make it to the summit. And that's what happens in life. We pack our backpacks with things that served us once, right? These habits, relationships, expectations, identities, even the guilt. But the higher we go, the less we can carry. And letting go isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's saying, I can't carry who I used to be and still become who I'm meant to be. All right, that part is super important, right? I can't carry who I used to be and still become who I'm meant to be. Now, I remember when I was a firefighter and getting into real estate, and the whole identity thing was really pulling at me. And I had these weird, awkward conversations when I'd meet someone at an event or party or whatever, and they'd ask, what do you do? And I really struggled with that response because it usually came out like long and confusing. Well, I'm a firefighter, but I have some rental properties and I have these books out on photography and I'm doing this, that, and the other thing, right? I was all over the place because I didn't even know what my identity was. And it wasn't until we made the decision to leave the fire department that I became confident in my identity as a real estate investor. And even though that date was 2 years away, so we set that leave date in 2019 or 2020. And it was going to be 10 years from the day that I started in the department. And that was the date that I became vested because I knew at that point I could take my pension and invest it into other real estate opportunities, right? And so when I put that date in my phone, like, hey, July 1st, 2021, I'm going to retire as a firefighter. When that date entered my calendar on my phone, I became a real estate investor. Not the day that I left the fire department, the day that I put it in my phone, because it was at that day that I would go to parties, events, whatever. And now when I met someone and they asked, what do you do? I would say, I'm a real estate investor, right? And that shift helped me to feel way more aligned and way clearer with my goals and the actions that I was taking. So a quick exercise that you can do here is to take 5 minutes and just ask yourself, what's one thing that I need to let go of? Write it down, say it out loud, pray over it, right? Then do one physical action to symbolize the release. Delete the app, send the message, clean the drawer, cancel the commitment. All right, moving on to the next E. This one stands for engage. Engage your purpose. Now, when you let go of what no longer serves you, you create space. But space without purpose is basically just distraction. Now, purpose isn't something that you find at the top of that mountain, right? It's something that you uncover on the climb. And honestly, I think finding your purpose could be a full episode in itself. But the way I look at purpose is it's like a flame that grows inside of you. It's always glowing, but there's sometimes it's kind of harder to see. And sometimes the things that we do are actually working against our purpose, like throwing water on that fire, right? And sometimes we're working towards our purpose, like we're dousing it in gasoline. And I think your purpose can grow and I think it can change over time. But I think when you're doing what feels right, you're aligning with that flame. You're giving it the oxygen that it needs to grow. And if you really don't know what your purpose is, then you can ask yourself one of these questions, okay? When was the last time that you felt fully alive? Like you were exactly where you were supposed to be? Or ask yourself, if money wasn't a factor, what would you still be doing simply because it brings you joy? The things that frustrate or move you are usually where your purpose wants to lead you. Now, if you're still not sure what your purpose is, or you don't know how to find that, there's a simple formula. We call it the purpose formula. And it basically breaks down to Pain plus passion plus people equals purpose. And so to break that down even further, pain is kind of what you've gone through and the lessons, not the scars, right? And passion is what energizes you, what fills you up. And the people is who you're called to serve. And when you align those three, you're not chasing purpose, then you start living in it. A pain without purpose feels heavy, but when you connect it to a mission, it becomes really, really powerful. And I think sometimes we overcomplicate this, right? We think purpose has to be big or flashy, but sometimes it's as simple as being faithful with what's in front of you. And for me, that's being present, right? Present as a husband, present as a father, a son. The small things are the sacred things. All right, moving on to V. V stands for visualize. Visualize your ideal day. I want to start off by saying visualization isn't some fluffy hoo-ha manifestation thing. It's about clarity. Now, if you can't picture what you're trying to build, you'll build what everyone else expects from you, right? So the key is you don't want to design your life around your calendar. You design your calendar around your life. And that is way easier said than done. I get that. But visualization is being clear. It helps you create that roadmap so you always know where you're going. It doesn't guarantee the path will always look like your map, right? But it does guarantee that you'll be moving in the right direction. So when I was a photographer, I learned you can't take a great shot unless you can see it first. And that happens in your mind. And I would literally scope out locations, a landscape that I wanted to shoot. And whether it was a beach scene, maybe a sunrise or whatever, I would go out there without my camera and I would watch how the water was reacting with nearby rocks, what the light was doing at different times of the day, how the tide affected the scene. And when I had mapped out exactly what I wanted in my mind, then I would plan the shot. And sometimes it needed to be during a new moon at low tide, right? And so it might take weeks before the conditions were right to shoot. But every time I had that vision first, the images came out even better than I planned. I feel like too many people don't know how to visualize, or they confuse goals with vision. But goals are checklists, right? Goals without a plan is just a wish, and a vision is the picture behind them. And it may be that people are too busy reacting to what's urgent, what's on their plates right now, what their inbox is telling them, or their phones are saying that they need to do, instead of actually imagining what is possible. But without a clear picture, your brain can't tell progress from distraction. And I've noticed that when I stop visualizing, I drift. If I don't stay clear, I am no longer on my path. And I start saying yes to the stuff that doesn't fit, the projects, the calls, even the deals. And my brain needs a visual anchor to know what freedom actually looks like. So you may put your goals, your vision, your dreams, your clarity on your desktop, on your cell phone, right? And those things are that visual anchor to help you to continue to stay aligned to where you want to go, right? And we've done a lot of visualization exercises, and I'm going to give you one that's really simple, but if you can take just 5 minutes to do it, it will make huge progress. All right, try this. Close your eyes, unless you're driving, then don't close your eyes, but close your eyes when you have time and visualize your ideal day, right? Moment by moment, from the time you get up to what clothes you're going to wear, right? What you're seeing out your window. What time is it on the clock? What are the first things that you do? Do you step outside with a cup of coffee? What's the weather like? Really? I mean, visualize it. What do you do during this day? Are you working from home? Are you at an office? Are you having a meeting on a golf course? Are you hosting a conference? Where are you having dinner? Who's with you? What does your evening look like? Focus on the feelings, not just the outcomes. Peace, connection, purpose. Get as clear as you can about everything. Really visualize it. And when you open your eyes, jot down 3 non-negotiables that make that day possible. Then ask yourself, what would have to change for this to be normal?
Hey family, real quick. If you'd rather watch your content, head over to Our Family Invests on YouTube. You'll find this episode and all our episodes over there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your takeaways in the comments. Now, back to the show.
Now, if you've never done a visualization practice before, that should get you started. Super basic, but come back to that place in your mind when you're feeling stuck or misaligned and ask yourself if your actions are moving you towards or away from your ideal day. All right, let's move on to A, act in faith. Okay, faith and action are the heartbeat of elevation. You can dream all day, you can plan all year, you can visualize every single detail, but at some point, you have to move your feet. You don't need the whole map to get started, but you do need the courage to take the next step. When we bought our first Airbnb, we didn't have perfect clarity. We had never done it before. We didn't know if we were going to make a dime, but we both felt this pull, like the universe was saying, hey, you have learned enough. Now it's time to act. And every single lesson we needed showed up after the step, not before. Gotta have the faith to act. Okay. And I don't want to discount fear either, because sometimes it is a big move and fear is a real thing. Having faith to act doesn't mean it won't be scary. I think it was Scott Donnell who had this great analogy of fear is peeing your pants. Courage is doing the thing with wet pants. I love that. And that's what we're saying. We've got to have the faith to act, even if and even when it is scary. Because I can guarantee you everything you want is right there on the other side of fear. The clearer that vision, the more ready you'll be to take those scary steps. And I would encourage you to take one small step of faith this week. Maybe the text, the decision, the phone call, the application, the prayer, whatever. You don't have to know where it leads. Just open the door. All right. T stands for track. Track your wins. Okay. I've met so many people who are great at tracking what's missing. They can tell you exactly how far they are from their goals, what went wrong this week, and who let them down. But purpose-driven people, the ones that are super successful, those are the guys that track their wins. They stay energized and aligned. They measure progress by movement, not perfection. It's like that great book, The Gap and the Gain, right? If you're always looking at how far you have to go, you'll always be wanting and feeling like you're less than you actually are. But if you stop for a minute, if you turn around and every once in a while, you just see instead how far you've come, you might just realize that you're on your way to something great. You'll find more peace, more rejuvenation, more energy for the climb ahead. Because the climb is long. And if you only celebrate at the top, then you're going to lose heart halfway there. Celebrate the climb, not just the summit. And there's so many ways you can track those little wins and celebrate them. Keep it simple. Don't overthink it. You could do a family ritual, a Friday night wins, right? Where everyone shares one thing that they're proud of, a personal notebook or a phone note where you list 3 daily wins. Big, small, doesn't matter. You can do a couples check-in. What's one thing we did well together this week? We actually do this as a family every night. We end the day in Nico's bed talking about all the things we learned today, all the wins we've had and the challenges too. Because if we're not trying new things, then we're not growing. So we'll ask him, what is something he could do better from today? And what was something he crushed today? And sometimes Nico will say something like, I made a new friend at basketball, and that's it. But that moment teaches him to recognize good things even on hard days. All right, so here's an exercise you can implement right now to start tracking wins and making forward progress if you're not already. Every night for the next week, write down 3 wins, big or small. Read them out loud on day 7. Watch how your perspective changes. All right, the final E, expand. Expand through gratitude. Okay. Gratitude is expansion. It multiplies what's good. It magnifies what's meaningful and it softens what is hard. It's the moment on the mountain when you stop climbing, just long enough to look back, to see how far you've come, to notice the valleys that you thought would break you, and to realize every step had purpose. You can't elevate without gratitude, period, full stop. Okay? Because gratitude is what stretches your capacity to receive, to love, and to grow. And when you're thankful for what you have, you create room for more joy, more opportunities, more connection. You can't grow from scarcity. You can only expand from abundance. I think this is one of the most powerful things for me personally, is when you make that shift to gratitude, your life story goes from being about achievement to surrendering to a life of impact. It's like going back to that mountain analogy again. When you're focused on achievement, you're working for yourself. But when you shift to gratitude, you realize that you were never climbing just for yourself. You were clearing a path for others. And that's why I love this part of our life right now. It's not just about us anymore or our growth. Gratitude for what we've been given naturally makes us want to give it away. The lessons, the mindset, the knowledge, the map, all of it. So here's one more little mini practice we call the gratitude ripple. So before bed tonight, write down 3 people you're grateful for. Text, call, or write them a note and tell them why. Now watch how that small act ripples outward. So to recap all of this, the Elevate method is a rhythm for life. It's what we use anytime things feel heavy, misaligned, or unclear, because growth is about becoming more of who you were meant to be. E, evaluate your energy. You can't elevate what you don't evaluate. This is where you pause long enough to check your internal dashboard, where your energy's going, what's fueling you, and what's draining you. L, let go of what no longer serves you. Let go. We all carry that backpack full of old identities, obligations, fears that once protected us, but now they just weigh us down, right? Let go. Letting go is creating space for what's next. E, engage your purpose. Purpose isn't waiting for you at the summit. It's something you're going to uncover on the climb. Every challenge, every season reveals more of who you are and what you're here to give. V, visualize your ideal day. If you can't see it, you can't steer towards it. Vision gives shape to your purpose. It helps you design your life intentionally instead of living by default. A, act in faith. You'll never get the whole map. Okay, understand that first and foremost. Faith is moving anyway, taking the next visible step and trusting that the next one will appear. Confidence doesn't come before that step. It comes from it. T, track your wins. Celebrate the climb, not just the summit. Gratitude for progress builds momentum. Every time you recognize a win, you remind yourself you're still on the path. And then E, expand through gratitude. Gratitude gives you altitude. It turns those obstacles into perspectives and progress into peace. It's what stretches your heart wide enough to hold both the joy and the hardship of the journey. So the Elevate method is all about staying in motion, staying aligned, and staying grateful. Because the truth is, you don't climb mountains to stand on the top. You climb them to learn how to rise. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you found some value in that. If you did, please share it with a friend. If not, come back next week. It'll be even better.
Thanks for being part of the family today. If you want a closer look at our journey through real life, business, and all the wild adventures, follow us on Instagram at Our Family Invest. And for free resources to help you on your own path, head to ourfamilyinvest.com.
If you like this episode, send it to a friend. And if you're feeling extra generous, drop us a quick review. It really helps us grow this community. Thank you so much for being part of our family today. We really, truly appreciate you.